It's come high time that we talk about Call of Duty and more specifically Black Ops 7, mainly because a new headline is making the rounds that does indicate things might be changing. So let's break that all down, up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. So today's video is gonna be a little combination of me just yapping and talking about the news because we have yet another coming to Jesus moment within the world of gaming. And this time around, it has to do with Call of Duty and what they're doing to change their future and fix the past. Now, recently, the hot button issue within the world of Call of Duty is how far off the beaten path they've gone whenever it comes to what made Call of Duty great. Now, to this, I'm talking about the inclusion of these operator skins that are a little too far out there. I mean, we've had operators like Beavis and Butthead, Jay and Silent Bob, let's not forget the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and suddenly things look a little less of Call of Duty, and they look more like Fortnite with each coming week. And that right there, rightfully so, is what turned off many Call of Duty fans to the current game and potentially future ones. I really can't blame them for that simply because it just doesn't feel like the same game when compared to days like Modern Warfare 2 or any other entry prior. And that right there is due in part because Activision and Call of Duty do see what Fortnite's doing with their collabs. They kind of figure they can do the same thing and get away with it. But this isn't the same thing apples to apples. Call of Duty, for the most part, has been viewed as this dark and gritty game. And now whenever you do factor in Beavis and Butthead are the ones headshotting you, yeah, players aren't really sitting too well with that. And let's factor in this little game by the name of Battlefield 6. I know, I didn't think a Battlefield versus Call of Duty war would be happening right now in 2025, given the history of Battlefield and just how big Call of Duty is, but here we are. I mean, simply because I do work within the world of gaming, now more than ever, the talk of the town has been Call of Duty is failing and Battlefield could overtake its spot as the top FPS game in the space. This is simply because Battlefield at its core, and I can't believe I'm saying this, knows what kind of game it is. The developers themselves even said they want to keep this game as grounded as possible. And that right there won a lot of fans over simply because they are making a game that knows what it is and is not trying to be another thing. Now, I'm bringing this all up because this does come from a Call of Duty blog post that talks more about progression and how they're going to handle this transition to Black Ops 7. Now, within this blog post, there is a section that does talk about progression and how cosmetics could, or they're definitely not, carrying over to Black Ops 7. Quote, "We know there's been a lot of conversation recently about the identity of Call of Duty. Some of you have said we've drifted from what made Call of Duty unique in the first place. Immersive, intense, visceral, and many ways grounded. That feedback hits home, and we take it seriously. We hear you. Black Ops 7 needs to feel authentic to Call of Duty and its setting. That is why Black Ops 6 operator and weapon content will not carry forward to Black Ops 7. Double XP tokens and gobblegums will still carry forward, because we recognize your time and progression are important." Now, this section does go on to say this only applies to Black Ops 7, and Call of Duty Warzone will not be affected. But again, this was an issue that Activision made themselves. They chased the cash cow. They chased operator skins that kind of went above and beyond. People bought them, and again, I do believe Black Ops 7 is gonna sell, and it's gonna sell well. It'll probably beat Battlefield, but yeah, that's just Call of Duty. And speaking of Call of Duty just being Call of Duty, there was a recent Alina Insight newsletter that discussed whether Battlefield 6 could stand firm against Call of Duty and be that Call of Duty killer people have been hyping up. And this is what the report had to say. Call of Duty is still dominant despite all this. Its core audience still loves the game and buys it every damn year. And that isn't going to change just because Battlefield 6 is rad and tracking incredibly well. For many gamers, Call of Duty is an annual ritual. Tens of millions of players, many of them casual gamers, buy the newest Call of Duty every year without hesitation. This quote-unquote autopilot purchasing habit is decades deep, and breaking it requires more than one awesome Battlefield release. And that right there in a nutshell is what I've been trying to say all along whenever it does come to Call of Duty. There needs to be something a lot bigger than Battlefield 6 doing pretty well in beta. And again, the same thing happened with the Switch too. I remember a lot of people saying they were gonna boycott the console. Turned out to be the best-selling video game console of all time, and yeah, people didn't boycott it because it was the popular thing. Personally, I haven't spent any money to buy a Call of Duty game in what seems like ages now. I play it off Game Pass, and sure, that's maybe a way to play it, and that's maybe me feeding into this all, but again, I'm not spending the $70 because they haven't given me a reason to do that. I also do think that Game Pass inclusion is gonna help the Black Ops 7 numbers as well, mainly because, much like me, people will see it's on the service, give it a try because it's just the new Call of Duty, and things take off from there. But to kind of wrap this video up, I do think Call of Duty has lost its way. It's not the same game it was, and to me that kind of sucks because they are the top dog and it seems like they're just getting too damn comfortable. But I can only hope what they said in this blog is true, that they're listening to the fan base and they're getting back on track, because I do think post Battlefield 6, that conversation's gonna ramp up more that, hey, it could probably overtake it. But with all that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to you guys. What do you think about this? What do you think about Call of Duty? Will Battlefield do it? But that about does it here. I've been Kalo. I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.